First time I saw St. Peter's as a seminarian, I was taken right back to the first time I saw it about 4.5 years ago when, as a college student, I had the chance to come to Easter Mass here in Rome for a brief visit. And while then I wasn't yet discerning the priesthood, at least not consciously, it was certainly enough. This wonderful sight was enough to stir my faith.
I don't think my heart will pound as much as it did when it first saw the dome, kind of in the distance as we were coming upon it on the bus. And I don't think that will last all 4 years, but that first day I remember it pounding, and I do hope that I'll look at St. Peter's like that each day.
The view of St. Peter is just amazing to me because sometimes I look at it on TV. It's not the same way it looks when you actually see it in person. It's just amazing.
I think when I first saw it as a seminarian, I just had to shake my head and laugh, and understanding that God is always up to something, and the places He puts us and the people He puts in front of us.
When I walked into St. Peter's Square, especially, you see sisters and priests and people of all colors and from all nations, all gathering at this one church, and it really gets you to think of the universality of the church.
The first time I came to Rome was in 2000 for World Youth Day, and I was one of over 2 million people who was here. And so I guess every time I see the view, it always reminds me of everybody that's around the world, saying the same prayers that we say, attending the same Mass that we go to, and just reminds me of how big everything is.
It was just incredible to think that I'll be here for 4 years, to have St. Peter's just a stone's throw away, to be so close to a man that knew Christ, that walked this earth with Jesus Christ. It's just an incredible gift. My name is Dan Westerman. I'm from the Diocese of Lansing in Michigan, and I'm a newman at the Pontifical North American College in Rome.
Hi, my name is Aaron Nett. I'm from the St. Cloud Diocese in Minnesota.
Hi, my name is Justin Blanc from the Diocese of Wheeling, Charleston, West Virginia.
Bonjour, my name is Juan Luxama from the Diocese of Brooklyn, New York.
I'm Matthew Dalrymple, a seminarian for the Archdiocese of Atlanta.
My name is Josh Laws. I'm from the Archdiocese of Baltimore.
And I'm a new man.
I am a new man.
And I'm a new man.
And I'm a new man.
At the Pontifical North American College, in the Eternal City of Rome.
Hello everyone from the Pontifical North American College in Rome, located on the Janiculum Hill overlooking St. Peter's Basilica. I'm Bob Dolan. In this program, we will meet a few of the college's new seminarians. For when we come to better know and understand them, it will provide for all of us great faith and confidence in the Church's future. A future that in just a few years and then in the decades that follow will largely be in their hands in their ministry as a priest. These new men in Rome did not leave the comfort and security and love of home for their final 4 years of priestly formation just to play tourist, or just to marvel at a Caravaggio, or to enjoy a cup of cappuccino, or even to pray at St. Peter's. No, these seminarians were selected by their local bishop to come here to the North American College so they can best become the holy, joyful, and dedicated priest that God calls them to be. These rookies in Rome are just a few of nearly 250 seminarians at the North American College. That's one of the largest enrollments in decades. For over 150 years, the NAC has been a house of priestly formation with a goal to send home holy and faithful priests, men who can be a bridge between the New World and the anciency of Peter. In their first year, these new men begin to build relationships with their brother seminarians that most often will last a lifetime. They build these relationships in class, in prayer, in recreation, in relaxation, and all of it in Rome. The new men cannot visit home for nearly 2 years, so once they arrive, they are immersed into a new culture and a new language, and even a new life.
Well, the big challenge for a new man is leaving home. Obviously, they come here to the college they come for 2 years when they first come, because they spend the first summer here in Europe working in different apostolates throughout Europe. So leaving home and leaving your family and friends and your support, the people who have loved you and nourished you and helped make you into the person you are, and leaving them behind in the States is a hard thing to do.
How's it going, guys?
Going good, Josh.
We're getting the football team together for the Spaghetti Bowl. Like state-of-the-art turf field right out front of the school.
But your Aunt Jeanette said they've been lucky they haven't gotten snow yet. It'll be coming soon, though. Well, Josh, good to talk to you. Have a good week at school.
Yeah, thanks. Great talking with you guys, too. Tell everybody you said hi.
Okay, we love you, Josh. Take care.
You too. All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
So I think that's the biggest adjustment they have to make is leaving behind what they leave. But what they come to is a great gift. And as they are able to embrace that, and as they're able to dwell further into their spiritual lives and form a new relationship with Christ in a sense, because of having given up everything, really following that scriptural passage, leave behind everything and come follow me. That's what they do. And in doing that, they find a new depth and they find a new vibrancy that comes from that relationship with Christ that is stronger.
Grew up Catholic right from the get-go, going to Mass every Sunday, praying together as a family in the morning.
Well, I grew up in a town called Fallston, Maryland. It's about a half hour north of Baltimore City. And, ever since I was born, it was just, the church was always a part of my life.
Yeah, just a very typical upbringing as far as church on Sundays, prayer with family.
Well, I know I want to be a priest when I was in middle school, high school, going to church with my parents.
I never thought about being a priest until probably halfway through college. And maybe up until that point, once or twice someone had said, oh, you'd make a good priest. But at that point I would just shrug that off and say, oh, no, I've got other plans.
I thought about it since before second grade.
As a grade schooler, I had always thought about being a priest. We had a very great priest in my home parish growing up, and my mom still has, a little picture that I drew of myself, as a priest with like a really, really nice car and stuff. I had different ideas of what the priesthood was back then.
But I didn't know the Catholic faith until I was in college.
My mother's cousin also is a priest, so by going to Mass with him and celebrate Mass and participate in the altar servers, I kind of know that's what I want to do at a very early age.
I entered the church in Easter 2003, but it wasn't probably until a year later that the first surfacings of maybe asking what God wanted in my life really even began.
I felt this tugging on my heart from the Lord, just calling me to surrender everything, calling me to give everything to Him. And for some reason, it just popped up in the back of my mind, priesthood.
I remember looking around at my classmates and just thinking, this is so cool. This is awesome. Who wouldn't want to be here? Who wouldn't want to be a priest?
My vocation director came to my seminary, as he does every year, and we went for our normal walk like we do around the lake of Mundelein. It was a beautiful fall afternoon, and he just said, how about Rome?
I was having a conversation with my bishop, Nicholas de Marzio. He did not give me an assignment right away, And I was wondering where he was going to send me. Everyone kept asking me, one, where are you going for theology? And then a month later, he called me. He told me that he would send me to Rome, the eternal city. And when I heard that, I was very happy. I was the happiest man in the whole world.
I had never been in Europe, or the farthest I've been away from home is Canada.
And then he just asks, how are things going, really casually. I say, oh, great. You know, I love St. Mary's. I love the apostolate that I've had. And I think I said it's a really great community at St. Mary's. And he very casually said, you know, they have a great community in Rome too. And so I said, okay.
The bishop would like you to consider going to Rome to study at the NAC. You know, in my first question, I've got 6 other guys in my class, and I asked, is anybody else going? Because I was really expecting other guys to be going, and he said, no, you'll be the only one.
You know, those first 2 months here, especially being in Rome, well, were something that, you know, you wake up, you know, am I really here? Is this really home? And it's hard for that to sink in.
I just had a nephew that was baptized, so you talk to him on the phone, and the phone gets passed around, and it's nice to hear everybody, but it's hard to miss out on things like that.
Certainly there are times where you feel homesick or a little bit of nostalgia sets in.
Another really tough thing has been being so far away from the Archdiocese of Baltimore. You know, I really feel a strong connection and a strong desire to serve.
I'm going to be serving the people of the Diocese of Lansing, God willing, and right now, not being close to those people, it's very difficult to get a vision of where I'll be down the road.
In a way, though, it can be helping a person to become really reliant just on God. I mean, so often we're self-reliant, or we come to rely upon our culture or the things that have been close to us. But the training to be a priest, I think, involves one of really giving up, in many ways, everything for the Lord.
I think that whole, what you might call a profound transition of being a new man, a first-year man at the North American College, is actually part of the genius of the college, is actually part of the chemistry that works. Because when you get here, first of all, you say, this is it. This is going to be my home. There aren't going to be too many distractions. You know, I can't go home to mom and dad on weekends. I don't have people that I've known in the past. I've really got to make a go of it here. So there's a total immersion. And secondly, there becomes a great reliance on God. You start, you start taking all this transition and all this homesickness and all this trepidation that you got to prayer. So that, I think that's part of the magic, the chemistry of why priestly formation in Rome works so well.
In their first 3 years, the seminarians attend most of their classes at either the University of St. Thomas Aquinas, commonly called the Angelicum, the University of the Holy Cross, and a Croce, or here, the Pontifical Gregorian University. Some of the giants of the Catholic Church, past and present, have been educated in these institutions over the past several centuries, including many men from America and other countries as well, who would go on to become leaders, professors, bishops, cardinals, and even Pope. Karol Wojtyła, Pope John Paul II, was a student at the Angelicum, and this institution, the Gregorian, has educated more future popes than any other building in the world. All three are located in the heart of Rome, so from the North American College, it's a healthy walk to class every day. It's about 30 minutes one way. But it is a useful walk, because in Rome, even just getting to class is an education.
It's an education in just the history and the life of this city. You're able to see that in the buildings, in the architecture, just the beauty of it all.
A lot of guys will pray the rosary along the way, have a conversation, how things are doing. You get to, well, spend some time with the Lord in prayer, also visit with your brothers.
You walk by motorinos and cars that are zooming by you that are only a couple feet from you sometimes.
One of the nice things about the walk is that along a lot of the buildings that you see as you go to the Greg, at the corners, there's this great tradition that the Romans have to put up a little statue of Our Lady or a little picture of her. It's just a wonderful little reminder that she's with you on the way.
I take fundamental theology,
Revelation and its transmission,
Synoptic Gospels and Acts of the Apostles,
I also have church history,
intro to theology,
Christology,
we've got a seminar here at the college with one of the priests on staff,
Synoptic Gospels and the Acts of the Apostles,
patristics, church history,
I believe Revelation,
Acts of the Apostles.
and I also have one more class.
There's one more. I can't remember it.
In Greek, so.
The Italian way of doing school or going about university, you just have your lectures during the day and then you're expected to read. They give you a big list of reading to do outside of class. So it is a lot of work. It's a lot of reading. It's a lot of studying.
It's a different style than they have in America, where you don't get, at least I haven't, a specific syllabus with assignments and the daily reading assignments, where it's more open. They give you a suggested reading list, and then it's more on your own. It's more independent.
So being here at such an international university in such a setting, it really does give you a more concrete sense of the universal church.
In my first week, I met a friend from Bangladesh, a seminarian who studies right over here. And so who would have thought, I'd ever met this seminarian from Bangladesh. I met Irish seminarians. There are many religious sisters there, and laymen and women as well. So it's a great slice, a little slice of the universal church.
You walk in and you realize the only people speaking English are those that came from the seminary with you that morning, and the common language of the school is Italian.
Allora, solo parlo un po', piano piano spero di imparare bene, ma solo un po' adesso. And I just said, well, I only know a little bit now, but slowly I hope to learn more.
Quindi sto studiando per 3 mesi, ma ho capito tutti.
Il mio italiano non è perfetto, ma piano piano migliora ogni giorno.
I've been studying for 3 months, but it's far away from understanding everything.
I think I said my Italian isn't perfect, but slowly it's getting better.
It's been incredibly humbling too, to be, in terms of communication, reduced to the level of, hi, my name's Josh, I am American,
Yeah, you got to talk with the hands too, so.
There is a fraternity that develops instantly, really, with your classmates when you first come here, and it's really hard to just put into words. But ultimately, the fraternity, and it builds a fraternity, a commonality of why we're here, and especially with being away from everything, you really are invited to look at your life, look at your own family, look at your vocation, and to look at those around you. We're all kind of in a common mission.
There's a special sense of brotherhood here because, again, like we're cut off so much from our normal way of life back in the States. So I think that really creates a cohesive unity amongst us.
The first day I get off the bus or I arrive at the formation, I feel like I was home. The brothers welcome me, and the staff, the way they welcome me, it's just like I was home again. So being here, it's just being home.
Granted, this is an incredible blessing to be over here, but at the same time, we're all experiencing those same struggles, those same sacrifices. And there's an incredible bond that's formed between men when we're going through that struggle together.
How different the guys from Texas are from the guys of California. or the Gulf Coast or the Northeast, and all these different regions bring who they are to the community, and it's so much fun.
Well, recreation here at the seminary is also an important part of our brotherhood.
In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. Heavenly Father, we invite you to join us in this game. We ask you that you strengthen our fraternity, our community. You draw all of us closer to your Son through sport.
Playing sports together, recreating together, helps us to build community and fraternity. We work on teamwork, what it means to depend on others for your success. So it's a big part of life here at the NAC.
Most every Sunday I try to make my way down here to see the Holy Father at the Angelus.
Angelus Domini nunciavit Maria.
Et concepit Spiritus Sancto.
Ave Maria, gratia plena, Dominus tecum, benedicta tu in mulieribus, et benedictus fructus ventris tu, Iesus.
Sancta Maria, Mater Dei, ora pro nobis peccatoribus, nunc et in hora mortis nostrae. Amen. Just a great way to start off the week, to be able to see Pope Benedict, be able to address his people, be able to pray with his people. And it's just an experience of his love for the church. Every time I come down here, you can just see how much he loves the people of God, how much he enjoys praying for us. He gives himself for the church. And just to show our support for him, because there are often times where, he gets persecuted, unfortunately, by the media. And it's just a great opportunity for us to show our love for him, to be able to come down here like this and just show him that we love him too, just like he loves us.
Benedicat vos omnipotens Deus, Pater et Filius et Spiritus Sanctus. Amen.
Being able to say, here is where Peter, our first pope, was crucified, and his bones are here, where you not only read about these people, but you've been to their tomb to pray. You have asked for their intercession.
But my favorite thing in Wombi is St. Peter, which is 5 minutes away from us. So through my windows, I can look at St. Peter. I think for me, that was the joyful thing being here.
The church is a community in which everyone has a role. It's the ideal community where everybody comes together to contribute who they are and what they do. And so being here it's just such a great example of that.
I'm starting to understand how difficult it is to convey it to another person, just the experience of being in Rome. It's just such an incredible gift, a gift from the Lord to be here.
The purpose of the North American College in Rome is precisely its address. Location, location, location. So Rome becomes part of the priestly formation, right? John Paul II has a great line. He said when his archbishop sent him to Rome to study, he was a priest already, so he came here for graduate work. His archbishop wisely said, I'm just not sending you to study in Rome, I'm sending you to study Rome. Rome becomes a classroom, see? And it's the greatest classroom of all.
I want to be a priest of hope. Hope, which is part of the virtues, it's deeper than that, because hope is you're not expecting anything, but you look forward to future, not wondering or not questioning anything.
A holy, happy priest. We're all called to holiness, and priests certainly. And that's what we're here about. If we're not here about that, then we need to look at what we're about. So That would be one, and then happy as well, and to live out that joyfully and to share that with God's people.
I pray the type of priest that I'm going to be would be someone who is a man of prayer, first of all, and someone who's there for the people.
Perhaps the biggest thing about the priesthood that I look forward to would be the ideal of really being a bridge between people and God. Certainly a flawed bridge, one that's with the rest of the church as a sinner, and doing my best to listen and respond to God's call.
I'm just reminded of a quote of St. John Vianney where he said, if the priest knew what he was, he would die out of love. The priest doesn't even he isn't able to fully realize this gift that he's been given. So I hope to at least be somewhat aware of that incredible grace that that God willing I will be given.
At my deepest levels, there's something in me that loves people and wants to be there with them, wants to be there in their communities to help them come together, to help them find God, and to help them see where God's already active in their lives. That's the priest that I want to be. Someone who chooses every day that I will accept God's invitation to live with joy, with peace, and I will do everything I can to share that with others.